Well, greetings, YouTube model people. How's it going? All right, coming at you here at 1:07 p.m. Um, on Monday, of course, Model Building Marathon Monday. And this is our update number one here. We haven't gotten much done. Had a couple phone calls that kind of interrupted things, but again, we've been working on this space shuttle model here. I did touch up the body just a little bit and then gave it a good solid heavy coat of, actually I'm using primer white as my final color. I could have used matte white, but I like the way primer white lays down, so we're going with that. And it's sitting upstairs in my half bathroom, which gets a lot of heat in that room. I have forced air heat, and that's kind of, I use as my drying room, curing room for paint. So it's got a little ways to go yet. We're going to let that take its time, and then we're going to end up gloss coating, because then we're going to have to get involved with some decaling. Now here's, again, these aftermarket decals I got, very extensive color-coded diagram of where stuff goes. I am not using all of the decals they provide. There's some very long, thin pieced tile pieces, and that's what this basically shows, is the layout of the tiling. I'm just going with my own version of it. But what I have been doing is, the one unfortunate thing about the decals is they're solid across, right? Which the film goes across everything. So you have to cut out all the individual grooves and such. So case in point, these are for the front. You have to cut that out exact, otherwise you're going to end up with extra film. Now, I don't think having a little extra film is a big deal with these particular decals, because I already tested one, and they come out they're very thin, and they actually hold on pretty good. And here's an example piece. Probably needs just a little bit of a brush of a dull coat over that, but this was matte white, or I should say the primer white, gloss white, put the decal down, and then flat clear over the top. And that's the result I got. Again, I probably could just add another little bit of brushing on a flat coat to get those last little shiny parts to lay down. But they're pretty hardy, because this is lacquer paint I'm using, or lacquer paint and clear. So it's working pretty well. Sorry, we're kind of all over the place. I'm trying to get this update before heading off to getting some pizza for lunch. I'm going to treat myself a little bit, and also do a little bit of food shopping. But so anyway, so we had to cut all these out, and that's kind of how we spent a lot of the morning, is getting all these bigger decals, smaller decals kind of cut out. Steps that I had completed prior to today was the tail piece, right? The landing gear, and then the nozzles here on the back. Put some Testors copper paint in there, and I kind of darkened it down with some black and came up with my own custom, and then put a little bit of a wash. The great fortune of these round parts that these go into is there's a little bit of a groove that goes around there, enough so that I was able to get a white gel pen in there to trace the circle with the gel pen. And you know, it's not going to look perfect, but it's the shuttle, right? It's far from a perfect vehicle, but it did a pretty good job. Also did a little dry brushing of the copper on the, again, the nozzles on the end there. So that's it, folks. That's what we have for our first update. Again, sorry we're all over the place with it. We're just kind of get this up and loaded, and give you guys something to look at, or a little bit of progress as we move along. Having a blast, even though it's slow progress, even though some real life phone calls interrupted things, it doesn't matter. Been having a real good time, just enjoying relaxing time here at the bench. So we will be back with another update later this afternoon. Okay, cheers.